Hello, with 10 more days to go until February 28th, when KDE Plasma 6 and KDE Framework 6 are going to be released during the KDE 6 Megarelease. I want to test the current state of the KDE Git repositories without actually compiling anything. So for that, I'm going to use in live CD mode if possible. If not, I'm going to install the Linux distributions that build KDE software straight from Git master branch. I have two options here, openSUSE Krypton and KDE Neon Unstable ISO. Let me download both and test them both at the same time. So KDE Neon Unstable Edition says that the build is from February 11th, so that's 7 days, 1 week old. Let's download it. I have finished downloading KDE Neon Unstable Edition. Next up is openSUSE Krypton. Also, this ISO file was built in 11th February, so that's a week ago. So both the ISO files have finished downloading. When I searched for the schedule release date for KDE Megarelease 6, I searched on Google for wiki KDE Plasma 6 release. And now I can see that Wikipedia knows the answer, that it's the 28th of February 2024. Also, I searched for KDE Wiki Plasma 6 Live CD, got me to this page, communitykde.org/plasma/plasma6. There's a chapter how to test it, where we have the Linux distributions and ISOs which can be installed or even run in live CD mode. Some of these options will get the latest from KDE Git Master. This is pre-built, this is pre-built, and this is you building it yourself from source code. And other options build not from Git Master, but from the latest release, which in this case is the RC2 release candidate 2. So that would be Fedora Rawhide or Nightly in immutable format Kino Vitae or in the normal format. And then there's also KDE Neon Testing Edition, also built from the latest release candidate RC2. So not from KDE Git Master, but from KDE Git branch and the source code release starbars. Okay, so I'm going to create virtual machines. I'm going to try without any virtual hard disk, see if it works. File, new virtual machine, local install ISO, forward, browse, KDE Neon Unstable. Did not detect, so that would be Ubuntu 23.10. I need to provide enough random access memory, so a ton of random access memory per virtual machine in order to have the virtual machine as snappy as possible, but then I have only 32 gigabytes available. So I'm going to go with, let's try 10 gigabytes per virtual machine. And let's split the CPU threads in two. Okay, no storage. Okay, the only thing that needs to be changed is not to have 8 different CPUs, 8 different CPU sockets. The rest can remain as it is if we don't restart, because if we restart, the CD-ROM will be removed from the CD-ROM drive. Begin installation. Okay, let's do the same thing for openSUSE Tumbleweed or openSUSE Krypton. Forward, browse. openSUSE Tumbleweed, sounds good. Forward. openSUSE Krypton. The same thing with CPUs. The rest are okay. And begin installation. Okay, it boots automatically after a 10 seconds timeout. The KDE Neon's unstable virtual machine is already in live CD mode. Okay, and so is the openSUSE Krypton virtual machine. We have the possibility of installing the operating system. From the desktop, there's install system icon versus installation icon. Okay. We see that for some reason the first run KDE wizard did not start on openSUSE Krypton. So that's the welcome center. Maybe this is related to the fact that ISOs for openSUSE Krypton are tested using OpenQA graphical user interface and especially installer and virtual machine testing framework, which requires that the graphical user interface looks in a certain way after a certain number of seconds. That's why probably they use their own background wallpapers. I want to see both virtual machines at the same time, side by side, one on the half left of my screen and the other on the right half of my screen. Currently, there's these left-right scroll bars in both virtual machines, which I do not want. So for that, I'm going to move the KDE Plasma panel in the host machine to the bottom. Says drag to move, like this, and close the configuration. Now it's better. Let's change the resolution in here to the same 768 4x3. Where is that? 768 4x3. This could be enough because the only thing that it's missing right now is if I maximize Windows, I cannot find the 3 minimize, maximize, and close button. And in the KDE Plasma panel, the Picat desktop icon is not shown. Let me first configure it such that it does not automatically lock the screen. How do we do that? Screen locks automatically after 5 minutes. Apply. There's no automatic screen locking on KDE Neon, which is good. Okay, let's see what we want to test next. Let's see if the usual applications that I want are available out of the box in Live CD mode. So I want system settings, I want console, and I want Kate. It's okay. Kate, console, and system settings, and they're already favorited. Let's see if I can favorite the missing applications in KDE Neon Unstable. So I want console, add to favorites, and Kate. Okay. So favorites, Kate, console, and Firefox is already pinned to the KDE Plasma panel, which is called the Icons Only Task Manager. Profile Manager, what is this thing? The Mozilla Firefox Profile Manager. Okay. These menus are different because if you right click on Task Manager on the Dolphin folder icon, let's see if one of these live CDs is actually in Wayland mode. That's about this system. And KDE Neon is in Wayland mode, and openSUSE is in X11 mode. One thing that immediately caused this question was the fact that when we have a context menu open, it still shows the pop-up tooltips of the other icons in the icons only task manager. Whereas in here it does not do such a thing. And it should not do, because it's you cannot read the context menu if it's showing the Dolphin pop-up tooltip all of the time. So I was here, then I went right click, I moved a bit the mouse, and then the tooltip appeared again. Right click, move a bit the mouse. Yeah. So you cannot really read the context menu if the tooltip appears for 0 reasons for Dolphin File Manager. So that would be probably a so-called paper cut issue with KDE Plasma 6 on Wayland. Okay, so the same test scenario. The tooltip immediately disappears when I right-click to show the context menu. The context menu appears on mouse down, not on mouse up. That's a Linux versus Windows thing. Appears at the same position, the context menu, doesn't matter where you are on the icon. Okay, so test, enter the dolphin icon, right click, and then move some pixels to the left. So tooltip, right click, and then move some pixels. Okay, that's it. If you go right click on any icon in icons only task manager and then move a bit, you have both things shown at the same time, the context menu and the tooltip, which should not happen in my opinion. And it does not happen on X11, at least on openSUSE Krypton. Next up, let's look in the console in the list of installed binary packages. That's deb packages for KDE Neon and RPM packages for openSUSE. And let's see if in the package name we can see that it's actually not built from KDE release source code tarballs, but from the KDE master branch at a certain timestamp. So for that, start menu, console, start menu, console. Let's make the fonts a bit larger. And that would be the package -L versus RPM -QA. The output of the package -L seems to be paginated, using probably less pager, whereas RPM-QA just throws the output at standard output. And we can see that for KDE Git repositories such as Arc, which is the archive manager, so the unzipper GUI application, it says Git, it says the timestamp, including seconds. So it's 2024, which we knew, 02, which we knew, 10, which we knew, because the ISO was built in the 11th of February. And then the time is 01, which I'm not sure what it means, probably Zulu UTC time midnight, 01, 34, 35, 44. Whereas some others are from 13 hours. So that's noon. Okay, but 2024 0120. Maybe that's I'm not sure why the timestamps are so different. Okay, let's look at the packages for KDE Neon. Says unstable, which is the KDE Neon deb remote repository, probably. And then the Git timestamp says Git 2024 0211. And then what comes after the dot. I'm not sure what it is. Could be hour and minute. This thing resembles a git commit shasam. Whereas this thing resembles a hour and minute. Okay, but it's the same thing. We demonstrated that both ISOs were built not from KDE source code release tarballs, or from the RC2 or older, but from actual Git master branch, not from what I wanted, the Git master branches of yesterday, but from 7 days ago. Okay. Next up, let's see if I can configure the openSUSE machine to use the exact same theming as the KDE Neon unstable machine. So that's settings, and probably the global theme. Global theme. So global theme is openSUSE versus Breeze. Let's try to set the Breeze theme. And we're going to change the desktop and window layout. Apply. Okay, so we still kept the fact that there are two desktops or virtual desktops. Okay. I'm not sure why there's some spacing to the left of the start menu button. So in here it seems that there's way more space to the left of this icon compared to here. And the same, there's more spacing between, I'm not sure. So after the show the pick a desktop icon, there's more space in Wayland KDE Neon versus in X11 openSUSE. Let's see if the button actually works. Okay. One of the panels is floating and the other one is not. Maybe that's the reason. Let's see if we can make the panel floating on openSUSE. Not sure how to do that. Right click, show panel configuration, and it's marked as floating. The rest, set position, center fill width or views visible, adaptive 44. So let's make this floating. Okay, and close the configuration. I have one window maximized. And yes, indeed, that's the cause. That's why there's, I know, 6 extra pixels to the left and to the right of the icons. When the panel is in floating mode, but there's a window maximized, the panel is unfloated, but there's these extra 6 pixels in here and in here. Okay, so that was that. Next up, let me configure the operating systems as I usually do. So that's from the system settings. First of all, I do not want this edge thing. So I write edge, screen edges, nothing here, and 15 here. Okay, the buttons to apply get disabled because the UI is no longer dirty. So if I make the UI dirty, which means that settings could be applied, then the button to apply appears. If I revert to the settings that are actually stored on the hard disk, then the buttons to revert and apply are disabled because the UI is no longer dirty. Okay, let's do mouse. The KCMs are different, which means the KDE Control Center System Settings module. This is for lib input Wayland. This is for X11. This general left-handed mode. Press left and right buttons for middle click. Pointer speed, which is disabled. This is actually a tablet indeed. Scrolling invert scroll direction. Rebind additional mouse buttons. What is this thing? Does this mouse have any action? Yes, it has left and right scroll. Not. Okay, maybe I don't know how to use that thing. Let's see if help works here. It doesn't really. Help Center has sometimes issues where it doesn't start correctly, but a second, a third time could start correctly. So it doesn't start correctly because it's missing the CSS files. It's missing the icons, the images. Reload. Does not help. Save page. Let's save to the desktop. Let's see what we actually have on the desktop. We have nothing on the desktop. Is it hidden? No, it's not. Okay, so that functionality does not work, but at least it doesn't work both on Wayland and X11. The functionality to go right click and save page on a help page. Okay, so general left-handed mouse, these things probably are missing the CSS files. System settings modules, yes, there are help pages for KCMs, KDE Control Center system settings modules. Mouse. Okay, the fact that in the contents left-hand side 3 window, the selected item, which is mouse, is not brought to be made visible is a bug. So this tree view should be scrolled like this by default, or even like this. Okay, let's see if glossary works. At M. Okay, this is also missing the icons and CSS. Okay, next up, let me change the size of the mouse cursor. Let's increase the size. Currently it's 24. The fact that this context menu or a pop-up combo box, the pop-up menus should appear, should not cover this size 24, which is the combo box. This is the combo box, and the pop-up menu of the combo box should be under the combo box. Because like this, I don't even know what's the current size. So let's make this, it's 24, let's make it 36. Okay. The KCM is dirty, let's apply. What options do we have here? Get new. What are these? So it says it's cursors. Okay. And openSUSE has this pin icon by default, probably because it has more than one virtual desktop by default. It has a second virtual desktop. Let me actually create a second virtual desktop in here, such that we have feature parity between these. How do we do that? Virtual desktops, this guy. So there's rows and desktops. Show animation when switching slide to rows. Add. Okay. And show desktop layout indicators. Apply. I'm not sure why this checkbox is enabled, but is turned on, but disabled by default. The rest of the settings seem to be the same. And the desktop switcher is shown by default, which is a widget inside of the KDE Plasma panel. And it's called Pager. Okay, and it has alternatives. Activity pager or just pager. Pager switches between virtual desktops, and activity pager uses the KDE feature that's called activities, which I do not want to test, at least not today. Okay, how do we close this thing? So I clicked on the pager in the same spot, went to desktop 2. There's 0 windows there, so there's no maximized windows. So the KDE Plasma panel, which is floating, is now not stuck to the bottom. Okay. How do we close this thing? I'm not sure how to close this thing. We'll leave it there. By starting the start menu. You close this show alternatives pop-up window by opening the start menu. Okay. Next up, other settings. Let's actually test that cursors from get hot more stuff. Where's that? Get new. Okay, do we see something that's at least acceptable? Silver arrow. Okay. Search for silver. Search works. Silver arrow, click on it. Install. Install. They should be installed already. Okay, and they're available as a third mouse cursor theme. So there's Breeze, Breeze Light, and now we have Silver Arrow Cursor. Let's actually use that thing. Apply. We're not going to log in and log out just to have the cursor apply to all of the existing windows, including the KDE Plasma panel. Which seems to not be needed on KDE Neon Wayland. Okay, next up, what do I do? Let's do the fonts. Okay, the fonts are similar, Noto everywhere except for fixed, which is heck. Okay, so pixel rendering RGB slide, which is better than non-slide for me. Let's make it RGB and full. I cannot click anywhere in this combo box pop-up. I need to actually click on the text, and there's also the preview is not being shown. So this is probably it smells like QML issue. Kirigami QCC2. Okay, so we want RGB full everywhere. Apply. So the fonts have the same size except fixed width, which is 9 points versus 10 points. Okay. Let's actually change this thing to be also 10. Okay, next up, let's look a bit at the welcome center such that we can dismiss it. So this is the KDE Plasma 6 first run wizard. Welcome to KDE Neon. This is probably branded towards the Linux operating system, or yes, the name. So the operating system name. Pressing the icon below will begin installing. What is this? Welcome Center starts the installer of KDE Neon. Interesting. Also, the home page is branded. Maybe the entire first page is branded. Okay, how do we close this thing? Oh. So I'm afraid to click next because I do not want to install the operating system. I want to run in, keep running in live CD mode. So let's just close it. Skip. Okay, like this. Home. Okay, the layout of system settings starts with input and output. Mouse, touchpad, keyboard, the same elements, except drawing tablet, which appears in Wayland, does not appear in X11. Interesting. Okay, then there's connected devices, Bluetooth, Thunderbolt, KDE Connect. KDE Connect is installed by default in here, whereas it's not installed, not available by default in here. Okay. That's a decision that's taken by the distribution, operating system. Wi-Fi and networking online accounts. This one is showing the local loopback, the other one is not. Proxies, from what I hear, we are now using libproxy, or we're telling the web browsers that use the Google Chrome rendering engine the proxy settings that are configured per user. KCM firewall is installed by default in KDE Neon. Okay, back. We were here previously. We set the openSUSE theme to Breeze. I really want to change the mouse cursor. So let's do that. It was Breeze. Apply. In KDE Neon, there's just one graphical user interface system settings or settings center, whereas in openSUSE, there's their classic, always has been their settings, which is YAST, which is this thing. Yet another ST, a control center. This existed even in the year 2000. And it's available both in text user interface mode, such that you can run it from the terminal, also in graphical user interface mode. There's a toolkit behind it, which allows you to write control center modules, which will run correctly both at the terminal, even if X is not running or Wayland is not running, even if you're connected remotely over SSH, but also in graphical user interface mode. That's why we will see some differences between the modules that are available in KDE system settings between these two Linux operating systems. In here, there's the Plymouth boot splash screen. KCM in here, there's no such thing, which I'm guessing is configurable from YAST. How do we do that? This guy. Probably that one. Okay, and also there's a special module inside YAST for configuring the firewall, whereas in KDE Neon, we're using KCM firewall, which is available in here. Probably a front end for UFW, which is the firewall framework that's available on Ubuntu, because KDE Neon is based on Ubuntu 22.04. Okay, and also the users probably. This guy. So KCM users is available in both Linux operating systems. But there's also at least one module inside YAST, which is not know which. So not software, not hardware, security and users, this guy. User and group management, this guy. Okay, can we abort? Too late. Yes. So YAST is an alternative to the tools that exist at the command line to list in which user groups a certain user is member, to change the password of a user, to create user groups. Let's do some of the classic things that people test when they test an operating system. There was a use case there. Open the web browser, download a PDF to the desktop, and then open it with a default PDF reader. Let's see how that works. How do we find the web browser? It works. So I started the start menu, did not know the name of the web browser, and wrote web. It goes to Firefox by default, which is correct. Okay, let's see what bookmarks are there by default, branded for the respective Linux operating system. How do we do that? Bookmarks, always show. Right click, bookmarks, always show. So there's no branding for Firefox, which is taken probably from the PPA for KDE Neon, whereas this is from the official RPM from openSUSE. So it has branding with the opensuse.org website. Okay, and you can see it's favorited. Let me edit briefly the web browsers. So I want a title bar Never show bookmarks, not this, not that. Apply. I want title bar. Never show. And done. Okay, can we maximize this thing? Double clicking on the window title bar maximizes or restores the size of the window. Okay, next up, I want to change to settings. The fonts look darker on openSUSE. Okay. Tabs, blank, blank. Okay, and download. Always ask. Okay. Let's do a bit of cleanup. Start the Firefox web browser in incognito mode. New private window versus open a new private window. This text is taken from the .desktop file for Firefox. Okay, so I've searched for a file that has the extension PDF on Google. I did not know the name of the file, so I went with A. The Google web pages are shown differently. In here it says the count of results. In here it does not say. The URLs are different. One says that the operating system is Ubuntu, the other does not say in the URL. Let's find one. These. irs.gov, this thing. Okay, this is a very smart one. It has completion. Okay, Firefox seems to render it correctly. I can actually add text in here. Okay, let's save the page. How do we do that? There's multiple ways of doing it. Right click, save pages, hopefully works. This button, and also from the Firefox main menu, which appears if you press the Alt key. File, save as on the desktop. The downloads are complete. Let's double click on the file. So on the desktop, let's see what happens if we just double click. Ocular opens. Okay, says this PDF requires a newer version of Adobe Acrobat Reader DC. Okay, no thank you. This document has XFA forms, which are currently unsupported. Okay, so the form was for the text, for the social security number, etc. Not a problem if this is a feature that's not yet supported by Ocular. if it works correctly from Firefox, from the web browsers in the Google Chrome family, that's enough. Okay. The UI is different by default. In here it says yellow highlight. This other place shows annotation. Let's see the version, if the version is different. Nope, the version is the same, the Qt version is the same. Just Wayland versus X11. If I'm looking through the help menu at About Backend, it says that the Poplar, which is the library that's a successor of the XPDF application, graphical user interface application that renders PDFs, that's used both by KDE and Plasma and GNOME, is at different versions. 23.12, which seems to be a year.month version, versus 24.01. Also, pop-up windows don't appear at the same X and Y coordinates from what I see. Help about backend. What if we move this thing? Okay, so the pop-up window does not remember where I moved it the last time, which is great. It always starts at the same X and Y coordinates. Both parent windows Ocular are maximized. But then the X11 window appears above at different X and Y coordinates. Both are different, the X and Y. So this point is different from this point. Maybe because of the Wayland versus X11. But still, this is not centered window because it's way too up. This could be centered window only. It's certainly not centered screen. Okay, I'm not sure why the difference. Okay, what happens if I click on this button, show form? The edit boxes actually become editable. Some of them. Checkboxes. Okay. Annotations, bookmarks, with page. Let's look a second at why the main toolbar in Ocular is different. So the same buttons, except the last one, which says annotations versus yellow highlighter. Let's expand the thing. This rectangle is missing with radio buttons. There's just configure annotations and annotations F6. Let's go to configure annotations. The list of quick annotation tools is empty. We can create some. I know it looks like maybe Ocular in KDE Neon was not compiled correctly. I do not know why the apply button is enabled if the UI is not dirty. It knows it's not dirty because otherwise when I go cancel it would say, hey, you have changes, don't you want to apply them? Hopefully. Okay, let's see the button help. Okay, the same thing, images and CSS files are missing. Other than that, there's the same text, the same images or screenshots. Okay. Why did it open at configuring Ocular page, not at annotations page? Well, maybe that's how all. Maybe there's just one URL for help for all of these buttons. That's okay. It's acceptable. Not a problem. So previous next button, configuring Ocular annotations. Screenshot, the same screenshot. Default toolbar. It's the exact same text. It's just there's a rendering glitch on openSUSE because maybe these files are missing the CSS and some of the icons. Annotation color. What's this? There's no searching here. That's a problem. Okay, so this icon is missing, which is what, a font? Let's copy in the text editor and see. Unexpectedly, I can copy paste from the virtual machine. That's totally unexpected. But I can only copy from X11 openSUSE, not from KDE Neon Wayland. Okay, let's do another of these manual test scripts, whatever scenarios, where we have a PDF downloaded into the desktop folder. And from there, we open it not with the default configured PDF reader application, which is Ocular, but with Mozilla Firefox. So let's exit, Control Q. We want to save changes. Yes, it's the PDF is dirty because we replaced text with text too. So we go discard. I'll quit. Okay. So right click on this thing, open with, and we want to put Mozilla Firefox in here. I'm not sure what this choose dialog is. I did not see it before. Always open PDF document files with the chosen app. Show all installed applications. Want to search for Firefox. It works. Okay. What if we delete? What did just happen? So right click, open with Firefox, and then click on the clear search button. It opens with Ocular. Okay, so that's probably also an issue, probably also related to Wayland. Does this button work? Show all installed applications. Yes, it does. Why does it have an icon? I'm not sure. Why would buttons have icons? Sure. Okay, so we can select Firefox, either show all installed applications, click on the web browser, or does not matter if the button is clicked, show installed applications, we can just search Fire and then click on Mozilla Firefox without enabling the checkbox always open PDF document files with the chosen app. Okay, let's do the same thing, Fire, and click. Okay, so Mozilla Firefox starts, not in incognito mode private window, and opens the PDF file correctly. And then in the KDE Plasma panel icons only task manager, the recent file, which is a PDF file, appears as the file that was opened most recently. MRU, most recently used list. Okay, let's see, move to desktop 2. Right click, move to desktop. If I click on move to desktop, something interesting happens. So right click, click on move to desktop, and I can use the submenu as I want. Whereas in here, if I click, it shows and hides, whatever, opens and closes the submenu. That's not okay. Okay, so ignoring this Wayland probably issue, let's move the Firefox window to desktop 2. It does work. Let's change to desktop 2. Let's move it back to the current desktop. There's no such button. How do we do that? We switch to the first virtual desktop if we can, and then right click on Firefox, and then we cannot move it to the current desktop. Of course not. Okay. Right click, move to desktop 1. Let's try to create a small HTML file and open it with Firefox. Let's use the terminal for starting this thing. So we want to change to the desktop directory. Who am I? So Neon versus Linux. The bash prompt is not colored. Let's make the fonts bigger. Okay, so let's create in here a directory called 1. Okay. And in here we create an empty file. and we open KDE Kate, the text editor, in the current directory. Okay. Let's look at the version. Should be the exact same. Okay, maximize this thing. Close the welcome page and start working. So we're in the directory 1, opening Kate. We have the file index.html. Let's open it by single clicking. Let's put some text in here. Plain text files are valid HTML files. Trailing new line. I saved both files. How do we open it with Firefox? I know, terminal works. And xdg open the current file. Okay. What is the outcome? So I by accident started the terminal window and Kate on desktop 2. Let's move them to the same desktop. Okay. The same thing in here. I do not know how to use desktop, so I never do. Let's actually remove them. This thing, delete, apply. Okay. So automatically the pager has disappeared from the KDE Plasma panel, and also the icon to pin the current window to all of the desktops has disappeared from the title bar of all windows. Then we have the following things. openSUSE complains something about zinc, which is, I'm not sure what zinc is, some compatibility layer translation from Vulkan to Mesa OpenGL or something like that. Whereas in here, the error is even more interesting. It says something about QXL, which it should totally not say, because I'm using software rendering. I'm not using virtual machine hardware 3D acceleration. Okay. And then it says KF service services, K application trader, MIME type handler file not found, which is wrong. And then something's wrong here because it did not bring Firefox to front. It did open the correct file. So I ran xdg-open index.html. This means, look, xdg open is implemented by the current desktop that you are inside, which is KDE Plasma 6. In here, it should look at the settings for my current user, which GUI application is configured to start when I want to open a HTML file, so a file with extension HTML. It's Mozilla Firefox. The application was started correctly, Mozilla Firefox, a new tab was created because the application was already running, and the correct file index.html was open in both cases. But in openSUSE, it did raise the Mozilla Firefox to front. Let's go back and try again. Where were we? In here. So xdg open index.html brings the Mozilla Firefox to front window, which is correct. And in here it shows all sorts of errors which tell you that the action did not work, but the action did work. It just opened a correct new tab in Mozilla Firefox, but it kept the Mozilla Firefox window in the background, so it didn't foreground the new Mozilla Firefox tab, which is a problem. Okay, let's have these one side by side. How do we do that? We can't because we don't have the right edge. Okay, like this. And do the same thing for Kate. Make it use the left half of the screen. Okay. Make this left hand tree view smaller. How do we do that? Like that, yeah. Okay. Okay. So the test worked. I was able to create a file in console, open and edit it with Kate with the entire directory. And then using SDG open from the Kate console terminal, I could open the correct graphical user interface application that's associated with HTML files, which is Mozilla Firefox. The fonts in Mozilla Firefox are different. These are italic, these are not. These are serif and these are sans serif. And for the final test, I'm going to try to install a very small application. We're in live CD mode. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, who knows? So let's test that. We want Discover. Discover is available in the KDE Plasma panel by default, from what I see. Let's actually close some applications. Save as. Why would you ask save as? You already know what file to save as. Okay. Okay, it says I do not have internet connectivity, but I have 618 applications that I can upgrade. Of course I can, because this is a rolling distribution and this is a semi-rolling distribution and it's both 7 days old. So yeah, there's hundreds of packages, binary packages that can be installed from the official repositories of openSUSE and KDE Neon Unstable. I see the list of installed applications. It works. The applications are sorted interestingly. So Kate is first, which probably means that it's sorted case sensitively, which is not a thing that I like. It's not intuitive for end users to know that uppercase K is before lowercase a. Okay, I can scroll, sort by name by default. Home says that it could not load applications, which is this page with editor's choice and highest rated games. Okay, let's see settings. Settings has discover settings, which is backends, including Flatpak, including firmware updates, and the editor for KDE Neon or in general Debian deb repositories. And it also shows the openSUSE online package repositories, which we can enable and disable if we want. Okay, we can see that the PPA for Mozilla Firefox is Mozilla Team. Okay, it's Debian Jammy in the sense of Ubuntu 22.04, plus on top the package repositories for KDE Neon Unstable, which means the latest released version of Qt, which is 6.6.1, the updated deb packages which are required in order for the KDE Git repositories to build, and the KDE Git repositories built from master branch, KDE Frameworks version 6, KDE Plasma version 6, KDE Gear, libraries, applications, etc. Okay, let's go to our applications and search for MC, which is Midnight Commander, a UI text user interface application. I need to press enter. Okay. So the categories do not work in openSUSE, not a problem. And in here it only searched on Flatpak or something. Midnight Mare Teddy, so it didn't find Midnight Commander. Okay. Okay, so I do not know how to install packages from here using KDE Discover. Let's try installing the package from the command line, and that should be all from our testing for today. How do we do that? Sudo, yes, that works. Apt install MC, yes. What do they use? Yast. How do we install software using Yast? Probably using Zipper. Zipper install. Okay, so Zipper install MC. MC. It looks similar to what I would expect. GPM. So I press enter. The default is yes. And let's see MC running as super user, as the user root. And it works. So this is it. I tested for a couple of hours both Linux operating systems, KDE Neon Unstable and openSUSE Krypton in live CD mode because I wanted to see and test the Git repositories, the master branch, the latest Git commits from the KDE community. I only managed to test the Git commits from the 11th of February, which is 1 week ago, because there were no newer ISO files for neither KDE Neon Unstable or openSUSE Krypton. Both were from 11th of February. This is it. Thank you.